Hi, Emily here, and welcome to our chair yoga. Find your chair today without sides, and you don't need anything else. We'll go ahead and start in a comfortable seat. Go ahead and sit up on your chair so that you can take some of this rounding out of your low back. Really want to be able to tilt the pelvis a little bit forward, be able to stack the shoulders over the hips. If you need to be back with your back against the chair, that's fine. But maybe you're sitting up a little bit, so you're using the structure and starting to use a little bit of engagement of the core to help you sit up. The ankles can be right underneath the knees, and try to have the feet planted pretty firmly down on the ground. So depending on the height of your chair and where you're sitting relative to the back, you might want to add something underneath the feet, whether it's books or blankets or something. The feet can have some nice distance between them. And you see me shifting a little bit side to side as I get comfortable, making sure that I feel my sit bones pressing down into the chair, adding any padding if you don't have a padded chair like mine. And bringing my hands into my lap, I have the palms facing down. That adds a little bit of sense of settling, a little bit of sense of grounding. And as you're ready to become a little more still, find somewhere to gaze out in front of you and really just softly looking. Maybe the eyelids start to get a little heavier, and maybe the eyelids even close. Becoming more and more still, giving yourself this moment to arrive, to settle, to begin to notice the breath in the body. Watching as you breathe in, the body expands a little. As you breathe out, the body softens. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and checking in that the feet feel firmly grounded. Might wiggle and move them just a little, spreading the toes. That the seat is pressing lightly down into the seat. You're lifting the low belly lightly away from the lap, lifting the breastbone and collarbones lightly away from the belly, letting the shoulders roll back naturally. And bring the back of the head in line with the shoulders. It might feel like it's almost pressing lightly back. So often we let the head fall forward. Can you really bring it upright? Maybe notice if it feels any different to breathe now that you've sat up a little bit taller. Start to invite the breath, into the rib cage. Breathing into the sides of the ribs, maybe where the rib cage and the arms meet. And breathe into the back of the lungs, all along the back of the rib cage, the middle and upper spine. And you might bring your hands to the heart center, one palm stacked on top of the other, almost like you're giving yourself a little hug here. There can be a soft curl of the fingers. Take 3 big clearing breaths together. So clearing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and there's a little ha or sigh as you breathe out. So fill up through the nose. Open the mouth, let the air fall out. Inhale, lightly press into the feet, the seat, grow up a little taller. Exhale, settle into your chair, your seat. Once more like this, fill up. Big breath out. Maybe keeping the hands right where they are for another moment. If the eyes were closed, gently opening them. If the eyes were open, bringing a little more focus, and might just take a quick wander around the room with the eyes, taking in your surroundings, arriving right here, and then settle the gaze back into the center. Big breath there. And you can let the hands relax down into the lap. We'll do some half sun salutations to warm up. You could always come standing for this. And so our half sun salutations, we're linking the movement with the breath. And if you're staying seated, make sure the feet are planted nice and firmly down. We'll do one round a little bit slower and then several rounds with that linking of the movement with the breath. And you go at your own pace, maybe a little faster or slower. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale, bring the arms out to the side, sweep them up and overhead, and pause there for a moment and maybe reach one hand higher than the other, getting a little bit of a side stretch through the sides of the ribs, maybe drawing one elbow down really far, pressing the opposite ribs out to the side. A couple more rounds like this. Finding a little bit more length and height. If it feels good for you to look up, could take the gaze up towards the hands reaching. And then reach both hands up and overhead. Shrug the shoulders up towards the ears for a moment. Just another quick little release, a little stretch for the shoulders. And as you exhale, the hands come back down into the lap. You might walk the hands out a little further. You're folding forward. You're starting to round the spine quite a bit. Starting to let the chin maybe tuck it into the chest. Maybe you come down pretty far and even let the arms start to drape over the legs, reaching the hands down towards the ground, the ankles, the feet. Take another couple of breaths here. Any little shifting of the weight from one foot to the other, one sit bone to the other, letting one ear come to one shoulder, then the other. Take maybe a big clearing breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, soften down a little bit more. Walk the hands back up to the lap. Hands on the thighs. Reach the heart forward. So I'll turn to the side here so you can see. So you're coming from this rounding shape. The elbows can be gently softly bent by the sides of the body. And then you're pressing maybe lightly into the hands. You're starting to draw the belly button towards the knees, and the chest is lifting up and away, and then the head and neck follow the gaze out forward. You might lightly squeeze the elbows back behind you, but try not to pinch or puff the chest too far forward. You're really reaching from the front side up away from the lap. Take another breath here. This is what we'd call our kind of cow shape or our halfway lift in our sun salutation. And round the spine in. Maybe the hands come to the front of the knees, a little leverage here as you really draw the back body back behind you. And let's take a couple rounds of cat and cow-like shape here seated. So inhale the heart forward. Hands might slide up towards the hips, elbows drawing back. Exhale, round the spine, really drawing the navel into the spine. Hands might slide down to get a little leverage as you lengthen the arms and stretch through the top of the neck. Inhale, setting up our cow shape. Exhale, rounding the back, the chin coming into the chest, hands sliding down the legs. Another round like this. Inhale, opening. Exhale, rounding in. And this time as you inhale, sit up nice and tall. Reach the arms back up overhead, any amount. And then exhale the hands back into your lap. This nice, tall, upright seat. So we're going to start to move one movement per breath. We'll do several rounds. And I'll also show the second time we go through an option if you want to try this standing at any point. But go ahead and find your way, your nice, tall, comfortable seat. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reach up overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Any amount. Hands may be resting on the lap. Inhale, lifting the heart up and out. Exhale, round the spine in. Might be staying up a little more upright like that cat shape you just did. Inhale, tall upright seat, shoulders back over the hips. Reach the arms up and out to the sides. Exhale, hands back down through the midline. Okay, an option if you want to try this standing. Inhale, sweeping the arms up if you're seated or standing. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, hand slide up the legs, reaching the heart forward. Exhale, round the spine back in. Inhale, press into the feet, seated or standing, sit up or stand up tall, arms reach overhead. Exhale, arms by the sides. Nice. We'll do twice more like that. It becomes this moving meditation. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Warming up the spine. Inhale, lifting the heart. Exhale, round. Inhale, sit up tall, arms sweep out to the sides. Exhale, arms back by the sides, your mountain pose. You're sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, folding over. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, sweep up, sit up or stand tall. Exhale, back into your tall C, your mountain pose. You might keep the arms reaching down long by the sides of the body, whether you're seated or standing. Turn the palms out and away. Notice as you start to take the thumbs out to the side, even almost reaching them a little bit back behind you, you might get a little light opening up across the collarbones. Continue to press the back of the head lightly back. Just finding this nice length in the back of the spine. Reach the fingertips pretty vigorously down towards the ground. You might even get a nice stretch here on the inside of the arms across the elbow. And keep the right fingers reaching down. Take the left hand, the palm facing up. Reach it up and overhead. Start to get this side stretch. You could always bring the right hand to the seat instead. Really press firmly down through the left seat. It might even be nice to take the right hand to the left thigh, help to root it down a little as you're reaching the left fingers up and over. The palms now facing down to the ground. You're pressing the left ribs out to the side. Take another really big breath here, wherever it feels right for you to gaze with the head. Start to bring the right hand back over to the right side, sitting up tall, the left hand back down by the side, both palms out and away. Take a breath here, reaching the thumbs back. Keep the left fingers reaching really firmly down, the left shoulders drawing away from the left ear. The right palm faces up. The hand comes up overhead. Really get it nice and tall. Find some length through the right side. And then start to tip over, trying to really press the right ribs out and away, either keeping the left hand right where it is, maybe leverage on the seat, even an option to take it across the body, helping to root the right thigh down, keeping the right and left shoulders drawing down. Reach up through the fingers. Take another breath or two here. Start to bring the shoulders back up right over the hips, the left hand back over to the left side, the right hand down. Stretch the fingers down, the thumbs pressing back out and away. Okay. Go ahead and bend the elbows, hugging the elbows softly in down by the sides. The palms still facing up, almost like you were serving something. Spread the fingers really wide. And then start to take the thumbs out wide to the sides. And the more you hug the elbows into the sides of the body, the more engagement you're going to feel of the muscles along the sides of the ribs, in the triceps, the back of the shoulder blades. And as you open the thumbs out to the side, you're starting to get a stretch here in the shoulder socket. Maybe a light stretch across the front of the collarbones. Maybe even kind of this little light lift of the chest. Yeah, take another breath here. Bring the hands back out in front, right in front of the body. The right hand finds the lap, and you might have the palm facing down. The left hand, turn the palm down, and you're going to reach it across the body. Reach it across the body, the hand staying about the same height of the shoulder, and really trying to turn from the bottom of the left shoulder blade out and away. Reach out as far as you can, turning the right shoulder back behind you, maybe gazing at the fingers. And then draw the elbow back, keeping the elbow in the hand about the same height as the shoulder. Now open up over to the left side, reaching the left hand back behind you, lengthening out the elbow now that you found that direction. And if it doesn't feel okay to follow the hand with the head and the gaze, you could keep looking straight out in the head. Yeah, so really reach far back behind you. We're going to do that a couple of times. So bend the elbow. The thumb might even kind of touch the front of the chest. Turn the chest and then reach the hand out long. And then draw the elbow back. As the elbow draws back, the thumb coming in towards the chest, turn and revolve over to the left, and then take the arm out nice and long. So getting some mobility in the elbow, the shoulder. Bend the elbow, turn the chest back to the center, start to turn over towards the right, and reach the hand out and away. Okay, one more time, closing back in here, bend the elbow, chest out into center, revolve back a little bit, reach the fingers out nice and long. Thumb back into the chest, elbow bent, and come back down to center. Oh, and just notice if you feel kind of some maybe fatigue even happening, keeping the hand and the elbow up the same height or heading in that direction as the shoulder. Okay, doing that on the other side. I'll start from this position of bringing the right palm facing down, the hand and the elbow maybe up to the height of the shoulder, as long as you're not letting the shoulder creep up towards the ear. So it could be a little bit lower. You might bring the thumb pretty close in towards the chest. Start to turn over to the left, thinking of turning the bottom of the right shoulder blade out in front, gazing over. Reach the arm out nice and long, like you're trying to grab something. For me, it's like I'm trying to grab this doorknob that's out to the other side. Bend the elbow, the chest comes back through center. Start to revolve the other direction now, twisting, and then lengthen the arm. Bend the elbow, the thumb coming in towards the chest, keeping the height of the hand and the elbow. Start to revolve over to the left now. Stretch the arm out nice and long in front of you. Bend the elbow, turn back to center, revolve the other way. And you're letting the left hand that's in the lap kind of do what it needs to. For me, it's kind of traveling down towards the knee and adding just a light little bit of leverage. Coming back through center, we'll reach out one more time this direction. Reach over towards the left, out in front of you. Bend the elbow. Revolve facing back behind you over the right. Reach out. Bend the elbow, come back in. Let the hand come down into the lap. For me, it feels good to lift the heels now, get a little movement in the ankles, one direction, then the other. Even just scrunch the toes a little bit, come onto the tops of the toenails. Just give some other body part a little bit of attention here. So we'll give the shoulders a break for a moment. Okay. Going to sit over onto the left side of your chair here and take the left foot out to the side. The toes are still pointing pretty much out and away. And you could have a bend of the knee, or maybe it feels good to lengthen out and bringing the bottom of the foot pressing down on the ground. This is our gate pose. Check in that the right ankle is pretty much underneath the right knee. Really press out into the left pinky toe. So you're lifting this underside, this arch of the left foot. You might squeeze the glutes a little bit to help revolve and keep the hips and the chest pointing out nice in front of you, heading the same direction as the right knee. And you might take the back of the left hand to the top of the leg and just a really small amount of leaning over the leg. Then you could reach the right hand out to the side, coming up the same height as the shoulder, the palm facing up. Pause there for a moment and really reach the fingers out and away over to the right side and gazing where feels good for your neck, not looks good, although if it feels good, it should look good. So looking down at the foot out in front or up towards the ceiling. For me, this is a pretty intense stretch all along, kind of what it would be like the underside or inside of the arm. And then start to sweep the hand up and overhead. Continue to press the right ribs out to the side. And then let the palm of the hand face down towards the left foot. And keep going with the hand, starting to trace these really big circles. The palm might face towards you as it comes out in front. As you reach it back out over to the right side, the palm can face up and overhead. The palm starts to face down towards the foot. And you adjust where this foot is placed so that you don't feel any pain in the hip or the inside of the left knee. And you're moving however fast or slow with the right hand, making these revolutions. Getting a little bit of that turning action happening from the rib cage, as well as more mobility in the shoulder socket. And it might feel nice for a round to make a fist with the hand instead of stretching the fingers out really wide. And then pause, reach out to the sides, bring the shoulders back over the hips, bring the hand down, give the shoulders a roll. And then the right hand's going to come to the seat next to you. Continue to press out through the left pinky toe, lifting the left arch. Now the left hand goes out the same height as the shoulder, the palm facing up. And we do the opposite. We'll reach up nice and overhead. And we'll take a couple of breaths in this diagonal. It's almost like it would be a variation of our supported side plank. Really pressing out through the left pinky toe, pressing the left ribs up, reaching out through the left fingers, a soft bend of the right elbow if that feels right for you. And maybe you're looking all the way up at that hand, straight out in front, maybe down towards the right hand. And you might take a round or two of your circles this way, with this arm reaching up and over. Noticing how the body's responding. Next time you're reaching up, go ahead and bring the hand back down to the hip. Carefully wiggle the left foot back in, and we'll head over to the other side of the seat, shifting your weight over, sitting on the right side, the right foot coming off now. Bottom of the foot planted on the ground. Press out through the pinky foot. Maybe you bend the knee. Maybe you move it forward or back a little bit, leaning over as much as you need to get situated here. But when you're ready, the left ankle underneath the left knee, a slight squeeze of the glutes to help turn the right side of the chest a little bit more forward, the hips and shoulders heading more in the same direction as the left knee. The top of the right hand might come to the top of the right leg, and that's just a little reminder so you don't put too much weight onto it. If you were kind of had the palm of the hand down, you might have a tendency to drop more into it. So the top of the hand, if that's okay, can have the left hand on the seat for a little bit of support, and then bring the right hand out the same height as the shoulder, the palm face up, really stretch out and away. Press into the right pinky side of the foot, lift the right arch, and then reach the hand up and overhead. I'm doing this completely wrong here. What am I doing? I was like, something feels really wrong here. We're leaving the right hand on the right leg. Reach the left hand out and to the side, the same height as the shoulder, palm facing up. I think got confused. We're going to do both. Okay, are you with me? Same leg that's long out to the side should be your right leg, the hands on it, the left hand reaching, reach it nice up and overhead. Fingers stretch up, start to tip over to the side so the palm is now facing down towards the right foot. Press out through the ribs. So you see there's a difference of kind of just reaching the hand up and then getting this full side bend all the way through the whole left side. And stay there, or make these big circles reaching down towards the ground, out and away, the palm facing more towards the body. Reach out to the sides, up overhead, down and across. And anything else that you're changing about this movement to make it look and feel, really feel and then look right for you, is great and wonderful. None of these movements are set in stone. Maybe if this round you make a fist with the left hand, just a little bit of a different stretch through the forearm and the wrist. Reach it up and overhead. And now we'll go the other direction, bringing the left hand to the seat, add a little soft bend of the elbow, the left shoulder rolling back. Start to lean over now. Now reach the right hand up the height of the shoulder, the palm faces up. Reach the hand up and overhead. Reach it up and diagonal, so it's aligned from the fingers down through the side, out through the right side of the pinky. Okay, another breath here. Maybe a couple rounds of those circles, and here it might feel pretty intense to revolve the rib cage down towards the ground, up. And I'm really thinking about this rotation of the rib cage. So I can even do it. I'll show you around. This is what it's looking like in the rib cage as I'm moving the hand. The rib cage is making this subtle little shift. And then bringing the right hand back out. Sit up tall. Help the right foot come back in. Okay. And we'll shift over. Let's actually, you can stay, I'm going to shift over to a corner. It doesn't matter which corner you're coming to. It's just going to help to be kind of almost straddling the side of the corner here so that both sit bones are firmly on the seat of the chair, the bottoms of the feet planted down, but you have a little bit more mobility to kind of move the knees. This might feel nice for a breath or two to just let the knees wash in and out. Really letting the feet roll around on the ground. And if you have kind of a harder floor like I do, you might be getting almost like a little nice massage for the ball of the feet all around the base of the toes. Okay. And then go ahead and settle down somewhere in the center. You might walk the feet in so they're just a little bit closer, about hips distance, and start to take the left leg long out in front of you, the toes pointing up. Really press out through the left heel any amount, and checking in that you're not rounding the low back. Maybe you take a hand to the low belly, a hand to the low back to help yourself sit up a little bit taller. And maybe you need to adjust exactly where you're seated so that you're not having any pokiness on the bottom of the left thigh. Really spread the toes as much as you can. Even maybe do a moment of curling the toes in and then trying to draw them back up and in toward the kneecap. Curl the toes. And I know this is challenging for some people to curl in the toes and move them. As you do this more, you'll train the feet and the toes. All right, stay there with the left leg nice and long. And maybe you start to, with the hands on the seat of the chair, lean over the chair just a little bit. If you feel pretty stable, what you could try is to bring the hands behind the back, either interlacing the fingers or holding on to opposite wrists, maybe even letting the hands travel up a little bit so the hands are clasping the forearms. You could even be clasping the elbows. And if you have the hands behind you, if you're feeling pretty stable, lightly press the chest up towards the sky, and then press the back into the arms into the back, just lightly, this kind of dual action, a little bit of resistance, and that'll help keep the spine nice and stable and the heart lifted. You're rolling the shoulders back, dropping the elbows down. And then maybe from there, you're starting to fold over the legs any amount. And you don't have to go far for it to start to feel like a pretty intense stretch on the back of the left leg. Continue to lift the heart up towards the toes instead of letting the heart try to track down towards the thigh or the knee. That'll result in this rounding action. Really keep the heart center lifted. At any point, if it doesn't feel good or it feels unstable to have the hands behind the back, have them on the chair, on the lap. Another breath here. Bring the shoulders back over the hips. Let the hands unclasp. Bring the left foot in. Any rock of the knee side to side. And then take the right leg long, the toes lifting off the ground, the toes pulling up and in towards the knee, and then accentuate that movement of just the toes, keeping the angle of the foot about the same. Clench the toes. Notice if it's different on this side. Really try to draw the toes in, curl the toes, draw them in. Notice which toes in particular maybe don't want to cooperate. Just interesting insight. Interesting to notice. And then find that spot somewhere in the middle where you still have the toes and the ball of the foot lifted away from the ground. Lightly press the heel into the ground. And your chest and torso might be looking over towards the left knee a little bit. Can you revolve it so it's looking over towards the right leg? And then maybe you bring your hands behind the back. Maybe you try something different. And if you're clasping the forearms or the wrists, you'll have a tendency to have a preference of one of the hands on top. See if you can switch that. Bring the other hand on top. Roll the shoulders back. If you have the hands behind the back, press the back into the arms, press the arms into the back, lift from the center of the heart wherever you are, and then start to fold over the legs. Definitely trying to bring the left side of the ribs a little bit more down towards the ground, the heart towards the toes, keeping the chest nice and open. Couple more breaths here. Find somewhere steady to gaze with your eyes. Finding that steady spot instead of just letting the eyes wander or dart around. That wandering and dartiness, I'll call it, of the eyes can be very stimulating and can be distracting and it can counteract this idea of trying to calm and trying to soothe things. So find somewhere steady to gaze. Keep the heart lifted. And then maybe releasing the hands as you sit up for a little bit of support. Rebend the right knee. Pick up the heels, lift the heels. Nice. Give them a nice roll from side to side. And then shift so you're facing back in the center. Plant the feet firmly down. Maybe sit right on the edge of your chair. Lift the heels a couple of rounds and lift and hold them up. And maybe you're actually lifting the heels and the toes just very slightly off of the ground. So it's really just the big toe mound of the foot touching, maybe a little bit underneath the middle toes. And it's probably hard to keep the big toe and the pinky toe pressing down. Nice. And then firmly plant into the right foot. Hug the left knee up and into your chest. The right hand, a little bit of support on the right seat as you take the left knee out to the side. And once you've taken it out as wide as you want it doesn't have to go super far. Keeping the knee drawing up and in as much as feels okay, the ankle underneath the knee. Maybe there's a little bit of this pulsing action, just getting a little bit more mobility in the joint. And then pause there, and then see what it's like to start to lean the chest and the right hand off of the right side of the chair. And the palm of the hand might be facing the chair, the thumb pointing straight out and ahead, continuing to keep the chest lifted. So take some of the rounding out of the back. And you're creating this counterbalance with the left knee out to the left as the right hand comes over. And it might feel like a pretty intense stretch here on the left low back into the left hip. Maybe you lean a little more and you can have the hand on the seat of the chair. Be really careful that you're not leaning too far over and challenging your balance. Looking for that nice stretch, and you can play with the lift of the chest there. That'll help to tell you exactly how it's feeling. And then start to lift upright. Bring the knee back in. Go ahead and cross, instead of our figure four shape, cross the knees as much over the top of each other as would feel okay. And then start to squeeze the inner thighs together. As you squeeze the inner thighs together, the left foot is probably going to travel towards the outside of the right calf. And maybe the knees slide a little bit closer. Some people are going to have room to walk the right foot out a little bit so they can even sneak the ankle and the foot around, but really squeezing the legs in towards each other. This is your eagle wrap. You could always be practicing this balance by standing. You can also look more like this with any other variation and shape and cross of the legs. But think of this engagement of the inner thighs, the glutes pressing in, the glutes even pressing into the seat to lift your chest up. And we'll find a stretch for the arms, reaching the arms up and out. You've got the left arm on top, so bring the left arm underneath the right arm on top. Give yourself this hug. You can be holding the shoulders. And then maybe right away you start to lift the elbows up the same height as the shoulders, drawing the elbows away from the chest. Squeezing the inner legs together, squeezing the outside of the calves maybe together. Maybe you're staying here with the arms. Maybe you're experimenting with bringing the fingers to point up and the forearms pressing up. Maybe that's not feeling right for some reason for you today. And you're staying right here. Take another breath or two. Especially breathing into the sides of the ribs, the back of the lungs. Letting, if the hands and fingers were lifted, finding the shoulders and letting the elbows rest down. You might wing the arms back behind you for a moment with the legs still crossed. Really, palms of the hands facing out ahead, and reach the fingers back behind you at this diagonal, spreading your wings. And you might then rotate the palm of the hand to face down, to face up. It can be a pretty intense stretch all the way up the arms into the shoulder socket. You might even let the chin fall down into the chest for a moment. Really dripping the shoulders down the back. Bring the hands back in. You can use the hands to help release the left foot back down to the ground. Maybe you want that just gentle wash of the knees in and out. Great. We're doing that on the other side, planting the left foot firmly down. Start to hug the right knee up and into the chest. You might want the left hand on the seat of the chair for a little bit of support. Start to take the right knee out to the right side. The ankle staying pretty much underneath the knee, drawing it up and in. You might pulse it up and down, or these little tiny circles. And then pause somewhere. Sit up nice and tall. Maybe you turn the right side of the rib cage to face the left knee a little bit more. So you're revolving the rib cage a little bit. And then maybe you're starting to lean over towards the left. The left hand can stay either on the chair or reach down towards the ground. Maybe you shift a little bit more weight using this weight of the right foot as a counterbalance, starting to maybe get a stretch into the side of the ribs, the side of the hips. Continue to revolve the chest up, open up across the collarbones. Reach the fingers down. Be careful. Another breath here. Somewhere steady to gaze. Don't let the eyes wander. Left hand might find the seat of the chair as you press your way carefully back up, bringing the knee out in front, and then hands can help to cross the legs any amount. They might start with the knees pretty far apart vertically. Squeeze the inner thighs together. The foot might start to drop down, the hips squeezing in. Maybe as you find a little bit more comfort, the knees come a little bit closer. The right knee comes a little bit further down. Maybe you're standing up to balance. Maybe you're wrapping the right leg behind, or at least a little closer, calf to calf. Maybe the toes and the ankle sneak around. Just really check in with the knee as you're heading that direction. Sit up nice and tall. Nice big breath out. Inhale, sweeping the arms up and overhead. The right is on top, so the right's going to come underneath. Taking a nice big breath here. Maybe lifting the elbows up the same height as the shoulders. So the right leg is on top, the right arm underneath. Draw the elbows away. Maybe you're happy here. Maybe this feels like a pretty intense stretch. Maybe you bring the fingers up, press the forearms, maybe wrap the wrists. Breathe into the back of the lungs, the sides of the ribs. Draw the elbows out and away. Couple breaths here, softening the jaw. Maybe even opening the mouth and moving the bottom of the jaw around. Squeezing the legs in towards each other, letting that help to drop the right foot down. If the fingers were lifted, bringing them back to the shoulders, letting the elbows come into the chest, the hands wash down the arms to the knee, helping to bring the knee up and the foot back down to the ground. Oh, any little rolls of the shoulders, gentle movement there, lifting one foot, then the other. Okay. Find your nice tall upright seat. Slide the inside between the pointer and the thumb to the sides of the waist. The thumb's pointing back behind you. And just check in with the shoulders here. Maybe a little wiggle, roll. And then you see how far it'd be comfortable for you to slide the hands up the side of the ribs. They can come a little bit further out in front. Maybe they're staying kind of right on the sides. And you adjust. Maybe you can find a way to have kind of the thumbs pointing up towards the armpit and the whole palm of the hand or part of it resting along the rib cage. And you're really looking for the ribs along the sides and on the backs with the thumbs. So I'm kind of wiggling my thumbs around to feel that. And the more that you can have the palm of the hand on the rib cage, the more you might be able to get a little bit of a lift. Take a nice big inhale, big exhale. The shoulders drop down away from the ears. And then your next inhale, use the hands to help lift the rib cage. And press the feet into the ground. Press your seat into the chair. Just help to get a nice little lift. Let the shoulders drop down away from the ears. And then take the hands away for a moment. And then bring the hands back. Big inhale. Lift the rib cage up. And then start to revolve towards the right. Keeping the hands on the rib cage and keeping the chin right in line with the center of the chest. So don't look over your right shoulder yet. Turn as much as you can with the strength of the core and really feel this revolution of the rib cage. You might even take your left thumb's kind of on the back bottom of the shoulder blade, and you might press that in a little bit more to turn the left side of the chest over and towards the right knee. And then maybe from there, you turn the head. And notice how the neck moves separate from the rest of the rib cage. You can probably rotate the neck further than you can the rib cage and check in, see if the weight can be evened out from seat to seat, from hip to hip. Press firmly down into whichever side feels like it's a little bit lighter. To here for another breath. Bring the neck back in line with the center of the chest. So you're looking a little bit over towards the right. And then let the rib cage revolve back to center. So a super deliberate and conscious twist. Bring the hands out in front. Bring the palms of the hands together. Give the wrists a nice roll. Any speed here. Could be noticing how the forearms graze against each other here. Pause, go the other direction. See if it's a little challenging to do that. Okay. And if it's going to feel okay to bring the hands back to the rib cage, any kind of situation here of holding the hands on the side of the rib cage, settle into the center with the feet, the seat, press into wherever the feet and the seat are touching. Lift the rib cage up, get nice and tall. You're lifting straight up, kind of this little lift right here. And then exhale, keeping the chin right in line with the center of the chest. Start to revolve the right side of the ribs forward, the left side back. Maybe finding the right thumb to those ribs. Try to pull them a little bit more forward. And then notice, have you found that full revolution of the rib cage? And maybe the head is going back. The neck now turning. Checking in, can you even out the weight between your two sit bones, your two legs, your 2 feet? And any amount that the right knee is wanting to shift forward in space to make the low back happy is great with me. You could be trying to keep the pelvis pretty stable, but you might be letting it move and shift quite a bit. Take another big breath here. Bring the head back in line with the center of the chest, the ribs still revolved, and then let the ribs revolve. So moving the different parts of the spine in different directions. You have the very low spine, the sacrum, that flat part. You have your your lumbar spine down at the bottom where you have that curve. Your rib cage is really around this thoracic spine, and then you have your cervical spine up here in the neck. And they each can move and rotate different amounts. So that's what you were just playing with. So take a moment for all that twisting to settle in. Interlace the fingers out in front. The palms can be facing the chest. Really squeeze the fingers together right at the base of the fingers. Pull out and away. The elbows can be lifted any amount here. It doesn't really matter. And then slide the interlace of the fingers up so you're about in the middle of each finger, kind of in between the knuckles of each finger. And this will be harder to squeeze the fingers together and pull out to the side. Just giving kind of the fingers a little massage here. And then you might press the very tippy top of each finger together. Interlace the fingers again, squeeze into a nice big fist, squeeze all the fingers in towards each other. And then, if as much as you can, bring the backs of the hands together, interlace the fingers. And then After you found kind of the backs of the hands together, bend the knuckles. So you're kind of making a fist now, but the fingers are on the inside. Give the fingers a nice squeeze here. Can even feel nice to almost rock a little bit side to side here from the thumb to the pinky finger. Nice. And then go ahead and let the chin or the hands relax into lap. We're going to move the chin in a second. Got ahead of myself. Take a nice seat here. A nice big breath. And you're going to imagine like you're drawing a U shape out in front with your chin. So I have my hand right on the chin. You don't have to have it here. You can have the hands relaxing right into the lap. Go ahead and start to let the right ear come towards the right shoulder, but keep the chin lifted and lifted up and over to the right side. And then reach it out in front, over through center, reach it up and over towards the left. And try this a couple of times. You're letting the ear fall towards the shoulder, but you're really pressing the chin out and away. And then over to the other, the chin lifted. It might feel a little bit weird, so you just play with that. What you're trying to prevent yourself from doing, if you want to pause and look, is as you keep the chin, you're not just dumping and really finding this deep bend. You're pressing the chin forward, letting the ear fall over. Let the chin come back, scoop along the bottom, let the ear fall towards the opposite shoulder, and press the chin up and away out in front of you. So any kind of rolls that are looking right for you, if this is working for you, to press the chin out. And then maybe letting the chin fall down into the chest and tracing your collarbone, keeping the gaze down at the lap, the chin down. Noticing that it gets into different spots along the neck here. And then let the chin fall into the center. Might use your hand on the chin or the forehead to bring the gaze back upright out in front of you. One more round of our half sun salutation. We'll do it pretty slowly here. Find your nice tall upright seat. Bring the arms out wide to the side, palms maybe facing out away, maybe trying to spin the thumbs back. Take a couple breaths here. Really reach the fingers down, lift the heart up. Maybe you're closing the eyes as you just listen to where my voice is telling you to go. Reaching the hands down by the sides, sitting up tall for another breath. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, sitting up tall. Hands can be distance, maybe the fingers or the palms are even meeting. Take a big breath here, reach the fingers up. And as you exhale, hands come down into the lap, fold over the legs any amount. Maybe this is a soft rounding in, maybe it's a full drape of the arms down the legs towards the ground. Maybe really letting the crown of the head be heavy towards the ground, the chin come into the chest. Especially if the belly is somewhere on the thighs. Breathe deeply into the belly. Notice that expands your low back. Maybe you're breathing deeply into the backs of the ribs. Another breath here, folding forward. Palms of the hands come back up towards the tops of the thighs. Start to lift the torso forward. Find that nice big cow shape, lifting the heart away, lengthening the spine now. Gaze down at the ground in front of you, a couple of feet. And some rounds of those cats and cows. Exhale, round the spine in. Hands might slide to the front of the knees, arms lengthen, stretching into the tops of the neck and the shoulders. Inhale, sitting up tall, the heart dropping forward, the belly button reaching towards the knees. Exhale, round in your cat-like shape. Inhale, open the heart. Last time, rounding in, exhale. This time, as you inhale, the spine comes up nice and tall. The hands reach out to the sides, up and overhead. One more time. Palms can face out and away from you this time, reaching the arms out into this kind of V or Y shape. Get some big expansion across the front of the chest, the rib cage. Exhale, arms reach down by the sides, fingertips reaching down to the ground, palms out facing away, thumbs maybe reaching back behind you. Another big breath here. And then hands finding the lap, maybe softening the eyes even more or closing them. Take a couple minutes or a couple of breaths here to notice, just like you did, I don't know, about 60 minutes ago, as you started to settle into this pose. Noticing how maybe you feel any different, maybe similar. And as you're ready, bringing the hands back to the heart center. One hand can stack on top of the other. We'll take one big clearing breath together. Inhale through the nose. Big breath out the mouth. Bowing your head lightly, any amount, into the heart. Thanking yourself, thanking each other for taking this time, even in this virtual space, through this video of moving, of breathing, of noticing how the body feels. As you're ready, lifting the head, slowly letting the hands relax and opening the eyes. Thank you oh so much. Again, I'm Emily. Let me know if you need anything. Be well.